Hello and welcome. While Ukraine struggles to advance in the south, in the north, the Russians report a breakthrough through the Ukrainian lines. We'll talk about this in this situational picture, as well as about the strike on Ukraine's cultural heritage in Odessa. Russia is continuing its strikes against Odessa. And we'll have here from Voenko the list what they have used in the latest strikes. At least 5 Onyx Onyx missiles from the Bastion system, 3 Kh-22, 4 Caliber, 5 Iskander-K, that's the cruise missile from the Iskander system, 2 Iskander-M ballistic missiles, and they at least claim that a majority of these missiles this time weren't shot down. They did definitely hit something, but they hit this here. This is the Transfiguration Cathedral in Odessa that was massively hit, coming close to being destroyed. We have a video here from the inside that shows us the full extent of the damage to this cathedral, which is part of the cultural of an UNESCO cultural heritage site in the inner city of Odessa that you can see here. The Russians are claiming it was a Ukrainian air defense missile that hit it. They claim that according to the damage, it is visible. Unfortunately, I lack the competence to confirm that or to check into whether this can hold any truth. The problem here is, though, that the Russians apparently never miss. Whenever civilian targets are being hit, they usually say it was the Ukrainian air defense missile that hit it, which is kind of suspicious. And at the same time, we need to openly say that even if it was a Ukrainian air defense missile, it would have never hit the cathedral unless Russia without Russia invading Ukraine. Let's go to the developments along the front line north of the Seversky Donetsk. The Russians are reporting a breakthrough close to Karma-Synivka. Some claims are that they moved up to 7 kilometers in this direction. Supposedly, the town here is reached. There are also reports that they crossed the Sherebets at Raihorodka. I cannot confirm any of this yet. We have some Russian claims here. We see this is the map, the first map they posted this morning. It was like roughly 6 hours ago, and this is the latest posting, according to which was roughly 1 hour ago, according to which they have advanced even further. As of now, I have not seen any proof of this from the Ukrainian side. I have not seen convincing visual evidence. I do not see the Ukrainians confirming any of this. But in regards to past experiences, it seems fairly unlikely that this holds absolutely no truth in that. Even the Russian commentators are even skeptical themselves. They are talking about up to 7, but claim that 3 kilometers breakthrough are confirmed. Nevertheless, in regards to past experience, it seems likely that the Russians actually advanced quite a sizable bit here. Now, the Russian commentators are saying this will lead to the Ukrainians pumping in reinforcements to hold the Russian advance. Should this happen, then it would actually be exactly what the Russians want. I do not see a realistic operational goal here. There is nothing here where the Russian would achieve a strategic victory, getting anywhere close to any of their bigger goals of this war, except in one thing: by attacking there and forcing the Ukrainians to send reinforcements, they would weaken, the Ukrainian side would weaken their offensive strength and thus diminish their chances to get closer to the Azov Sea or even to reach it at all. This is, in my mind, everything north of the Seversky Donetsk. The attacks we've seen are clearly diversionary attacks to fix Ukrainian troops in place, to force the Ukrainians to send reinforcements, and it seems like this might be successful to a certain degree as of now. We see the same happening from the mirrored basically around Bakhmut. Ukraine is attacking here, not necessarily to liberate Bakhmut, but more to force the Russians to send in reinforcements. They have been fairly successful in this regard here as well, only that their advances seem to have been slower than the majority, at least the majority of their advances, unlike the Russians, who had one breakthrough in the direction of the Sherebets in the south, and now it seems they have had some advances close to Svatove. I said we'll observe it. None of this is fully confirmed yet. It might very well be misinformation. It might turn out that they gained 2 positions and the rest was fake news spreading around. I do not see the proof of anything yet, but at least in regards to past experience, I would expect them to actually have achieved something bigger there in comparison to the past. South, we have reports about fighting around Kremina. I cannot confirm that anything has changed here. Bakhmut, the same. Fighting is continuing. No confirmation of changes. That was wrong. Further south, Avdiivka, same, fighting, no confirmation of changes. Marinka, Vuhledar, the exact same thing. A little different is what's happening here south of Velika Novosilka. We have first Riba talking about additional attacks, and while the attacks, I cannot confirm that they have led to anything. What we have interesting here is that they claim the Ukrainians attack with 10 people in the direction of Uroshaine. 10 people is a recon attack. I don't see any realistic hope of the Ukrainians to achieve operational or even tactical successes with just 10 men. So it seems like the Ukrainians are probing the front line unless you are believing that all of Ukraine's offensive power is already gone and those 10 men are basically the last they have left. This would mean that they are currently probing it, likely to identify positions to force the Russians to use their artillery to draw them out and then be able to hit it with counter battery fire. At least that looks to me like this, but I cannot confirm any successes of the Ukrainians. The attacks are happening in the direction of Priutny, Staromayorske and Uroshaine, which is east of the river here. Further west in the Orikhiv region, we have activity as well. Here in the direction of Robotine. The Riba is also saying that they are getting closer and closer. As you can see here on the map, this is a pro-Russian map saying that the Ukrainians have almost reached Robotine. The fighting is continuing, and what we have here is an interesting thing because we have Vohenko, another pro-Russian outlet that is giving us a video here of a strike against a Bradley IFV. It is being hit with an FPV drone. So not much of news here. We don't really see the result of it. Even the BMP might have survived it. If you see how far to the left it hit, it might very well have more or less been the damage might have been limited. But the interesting part is they used it to identify the position, and at least according to them, they are basically in the town already. It should be more or less here. So at least during this attack, the Ukrainians got very close to the town. We do not know if they have reached it, if they have entered it. We do not know this, but we know they came closer again. What we do have, though, is some interesting videos. This is showing a Ukrainian attack, and you can clearly see the Bradley IFVs, and this is a Leopard 2A6. So we see that in the direction of Robotine, the Russians are right with their past reports that the Ukrainians are using mechanized attack. No 10-man attacks here. Here we see the Ukrainians bringing out their big toys, their good stuff, trying to achieve success. And here we have a video about another attack, or it's the same, I'm not completely sure. It's from Wargonzo, so pro-Russian propaganda channel, which you will see in the editing. But again, we see how the Ukrainians come with sizable forces and Leopard 2A6 as well as Bradleys moving forward. We see them here going in line, but then we see something that we haven't seen that much yet. They actually open up the line of advances to the side and thus increasing the potential firepower they can deliver to the enemy. But you see there are always cuts in between. Let me just re-forward it. And here you can see the tanks driving to the right along that tree line. And if we go forward a little, you see the first artillery hit here. And then let's go here. We see 2 Leopard 2A6 reaching. I think that should be a disabled Bradley, and they are about to bypass it. But what you see is none of the Ukrainian tanks or IFVs is firing. So this seems to be clearly edited, because how likely is it that they haven't fired the whole time? It seems to really be intending to never show the Ukrainians to show any battle prowess, any successes. But what we do see is disabled vehicles at the end of the video. So we can have some insight here on manipulative editing from the Russian side, and at the same time we can still see that the Ukrainians are using armored vehicles in a sizable force in the south here for their attacks. There are more informations here from the Crimean Peninsula. We have now a picture from the airfield at Oktyabrskoye, I think, more or less, where the airfield was hit. I see Russian commentators claiming it was Storm Shadow, and some are claiming it was drones. What exactly it was, I cannot confirm, but the attack happened here. And if we zoom in, we see the airfield right here. So just to have an overview, it's right in the center of Crimea, outside of the range of artillery or the regular HIMARS missiles. So in this regard, it must have been either a drone or Storm Shadow, but I do not have a confirmation in any sizable way what it was. The damage, though, is substantial. The hit hit a fuel depot, it was said, and an ammo dump, which was destroyed here, and the explosion went fairly big. And then we have an interesting video of which is currently handed around in the pro-Russian circles, of a Leopard 2A6 being destroyed. Now, some of you might know what I'm leaning towards why I want to show this to you when I see it. Of course, Leopard 2s do get destroyed. We have seen a couple of them already. This is a war and things are being hit, but some of you might know where that Lancet is actually hitting. It's going to be slowed down so everyone can see how amazing the Russian Lancet hits the Leopard 2. But if you have some knowledge about the setup of the tank, unless I'm completely wrong here, this hit the storage bins. So that amazing strike that is supposedly taking out a Leopard 2A6 has taken out the spare underwear of the crew. We don't see big smoke here. We don't see damage on the turret, because up here is the ammo depot, the ammo bunker. It is designed in a way that if it's penetrated and the door to the inside of the turret is closed, then it has blowout panels on the top. So we should see some damage on the top. We should probably see some fire burning up, but the crew would still be safe, but the tank would obviously be disabled, at least for the moment. This, though, seems to be a hit in the storage bins, and I think the fact that we see it penetrate through is another sign of this, because there's not much in between. The Lancet simply blew through it, because what we have here is some storage for tools and for the personal belongings of the tanks, basically the sleeping bags, the underwear, etc., that is being transported here. And we have some information from the Russian side. The Russians say, from the Ukrainian side, the Ukrainians say, thanks to their artillery is responsible for 90% of the Russian losses, and thanks to their Western systems, the Russians are no longer capable to do effective counter-battery fire. This is Ukrainian governmental claims, so this could be propaganda. But what we do have is Popov, the major general that was fired, for the Russian major general that was fired, who actually complained about exactly this, that the Ukrainian artillery is slaughtering them and that their counter-battery fire is completely ineffective. So we have the confirmation here from the Ukrainian side. At least this would be some good news from the south. And we have the report here, another one. According to this, the Russians already run short on ammunition, on artillery shells in the south, because the Ukrainian campaign to diminish their supply, their lines of communication, etc., would be successful. This is not universal, though. At least the Russians are claiming that here in the north, where they have achieved some successes, their claims is that they are superior in artillery by 5-1 in these local region. But the Ukrainians obviously want to break through to the Azov Sea, so this should be their focus right now. And if they have local superiority there, it would really help in this regard. That was it already for now for this situational picture. If you like this, please hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment what you think about the hit on the Leopard 2A6. Am I right or am I wrong in this regard that it actually didn't really damage it? I'm not 100% sure, but everything from my knowledge of the Leopard 2A6 would be that this was mostly ineffective. The tank should even be combat capable after that. So leave your comment in the comment section. That can not only be enlightening, but it also helps with the algorithm. And if you're new here, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss future videos. This channel is only possible because of the support from viewers like you. If you like to support the channel, you can do so by the means in the description. Thank you very much to everyone already supporting this channel. And that's it from me for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back.